Welcome, everyone. My name is Jacob. This is Hunt Detail. Thank you for joining me. And if you're enjoying this podcast, I want to encourage you to go to iTunes or Spotify or whatever platform you're using and give it a 5-star review or rank. Really appreciate that because it helps support the podcast, helps spread the word. And again, thank you. Of course, we have the Hunt Detail YouTube channel, and there's a lot of cheat sheets for you, lots of free information, free resources on the Hunt Detail Instagram page. Just go click on the bio in Hunt Detail on Instagram. So last week we talked about some of our off-season to-do lists, and I gave you 10 things to think about. And number 10 was to get permission on a new piece of property for this upcoming year. And you may already have several properties. You may have a lease, you may have 3 permission properties, you may have a family farm, and you may feel like, hey, I'm pretty good. And personally, I hunt a mix of public land. I hunt public land most of the time, and then I hunt some private. And for me, private land offers a couple different sets of value. One is which there's ag on this farm, and we all know how much deer like corn and soybeans and all of that. And there's no other hunting pressure. And so deer movement is a little bit more predictable in some ways. They're not robots, but it is a little bit more predictable. And there's a lot of deer on this particular piece of property. But I like public land because I like to cover ground. I like to break down an area. There's bigger deer on some of the pieces of public that I hunt, and it's big woods, and I get to spread my legs and really explore. And again, if you can understand deer movement on a big chunk of public land, then you've really honed and sharpened your level of woodsmanship. I believe it's much different than if you're hunting a piece of private, in my opinion. So, but again, talking about getting permission, you may have a lot of places that you go, and that is great. But the truth is, that could go away at any time. People move, people sell property, neighborhoods get built, construction goes on, leases get sold, or whatever you could think of, it happens. And so you would rather have more access than less. And also, you could uncover a giant buck on a piece of property that you would have never hunted, but now you've got access to it, and now you got a lot of fun lined up for this upcoming season. So I want to share with you how I got permission on a particular farm a couple years ago. And I will say that this farmer and his family forget about the land. They have just really blessed me. I really enjoy getting to know him and that family. And he's a wonderful, hard-working farmer. He works, I would say, sun up to sundown, and he cares passionately about the work that he does. And I have an incredible amount of respect for him for that. He hates deer, and he doesn't like it when I don't shoot all of them. In fact, he got mad at me once when I didn't shoot a fawn, and I made the mistake of telling him about it, and he was not happy, really not happy with me. But that was a while ago. Now, what I did a couple years ago was sent out 12 letters to different property owners, and I was using the onX platform. Of course, you can use any platform you want, but for me, I was using onX, and I was specifically targeting these types of properties. Less than 100 acres, had some sort of ag on them, and had a different point of access to the property. Those were sort of the 3 primary characteristics, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if you have properties that are over 100 acres, let's say it's 400 or 500 acres or 1,000 acres or whatever, that person has probably been hit up 1,000 times. And if it's not under lease by some group or something already, they've probably, it's probably getting ready to be. And so by targeting smaller properties, you sort of cut out, you're going to get maybe access to people that haven't been asked 1,000 times if someone can hunt their property. So that was one of the things that I would look at when I was evaluating properties. And specifically, I would look for properties that didn't have a lot of wooded area either. That's so obvious to see, like, oh, here's a giant wood lot. Let me see if I can hunt it. Well, how about this? Go the other direction. When most people are zigging, you zag. And so for me, it was about finding properties that were a little maybe underlooked. But now, from an agriculture standpoint, I wasn't looking for ag because I wanted to necessarily hunt it. I'm comfortable hunting big woods and not, associated with soybeans or corn or any of that stuff. But people that grow food for a living don't like deer. Just like I mentioned with this farmer, he doesn't like deer. He doesn't like a lot of animals because they take money out of his pocket. And so his mindset is kill them all. And so if someone has something that they value and the deer are destroying it, then they're definitely more open to the idea of someone shooting those deer. And so that was another factor that I looked at with this particular, as I sent out these letters. And then the other one is having a different point of access. So you look at a property and here's a house and there's ag and maybe there's a little bit of woods and you're like, this would be great. But think about it from your movement. They're not going to want somebody coming in at 5 in the morning or whatever to go hunting and then leaving at 8 at night or whatever, coming in at dark and leaving at dark through their driveway. You really want to find a property that has a different route of access so that your comings and goings aren't disturbing them, because no one wants to get ready for dinner and all this and see some guy walking through their backyard with a headlamp on or dragging a dead deer or whatever. And so if you can find a property like that, then all of a sudden when you talk to them, it's like, okay, well, I'll park over there and then I'll just text you when I come in and come out, or how do you want to handle that? Or is it okay if I could just come and go whenever this is my car. If you see it, I'll be back there. However you want to work that out, but you're not disturbing them in a way that's intrusive, because no one wants that. I certainly wouldn't want that as I run my day-to-day with my family and that sort of thing. So those are some of the characteristics of how I approach getting permission. Now, I mentioned that I sent out letters. My bandwidth and my time is very limited, and I have things that I really put a high priority on. And one of them is not driving around to houses only to get told no, and driving around to find out someone's not home. And now, have I done that before, and will I do it again? Absolutely, but it really has to be the right time and the right opportunity. So I thought, I'll just send out letters, and I've got a picture of myself and my family on the letter so that this individual that reads it says, oh, okay, this looks like a normal guy. He's not some psychopath. He has a beautiful wife, 2 beautiful kids, and he's somebody that is relatable. So I'm going to read you the letter. Mr. Blank, I hope all is well. My name is Jacob Coons. I live in blank neighborhood off of blank road. Picture of me and family below. I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm reaching out to see if you would be open to a conversation about hunting deer on your property off of blank road. I have completed hunter's education certification many years ago. I take pride in only taking clean, ethical shots with my bow and processing the deer for meat to feed my family. So there's a couple points here. I'm apologizing to bother them. I'm giving them something. In a previous video, previous podcast, I talk about some of the psychology of interactions, and if you can give something to someone, then they're more open to giving back. And so I'm coming to them with humility. I'm sorry to bother you with this, and I'm asking just for a conversation. I'm not asking for flat out permission. And I've completed my hunter's ed certification, and I'm talking about bow hunting, not gun hunting. A lot of times people think of guns and they think that bullets are flying through windows all the time or whatever, and and that's just not the case. So you never know who's going to be on the other side reading this, but a bow and arrow seems much safer and much more limited, as we all know it is. I have asked before, and people had horses, and they thought I would accidentally mistake a horse for a deer and shoot a horse. And I had to explain that they're completely different, and I know the difference. It's like me accidentally jumping into your car to drive away. I know that I don't drive your car. So, but again, that's just the mindset of folks that don't hunt. Their image of it has probably been formed by Disney or some other form of media, and it's completely inaccurate. And so it's really important to state some of those things up front in terms of hunter's ed and, again, just bow hunting. Now, do I gun hunt this property I have? Absolutely. And but it's because of the trust that I've built with this farmer, and he knows that I'm trustworthy. He now knows what I'm like and who I am. As you can imagine, this is the next part of my letter, and I do want to state that this letter will be on my profile on Instagram. If you go to Hunt Detail Instagram, click on the link tree, you can pull this letter down, you can use it verbatim, word for word. It won't have my family picture. Sorry if you wanted to use my family picture, but it won't have that. But you can use this word for word. As you can imagine, the deer herd in our area is significantly over the objective population. Managing their population is crucial to the overall health of the deer herd and helps reduce the number of auto accidents caused by deer and reduces impacts to the crops that area farmers rely on. There you go. There is value in hunting and managing a population. And I think a lot of people know that there's a lot of deer, no matter what state you're in, there's a lot of deer, a lot of whitetails. They eat shrubbery, they get hit. And it's important that we manage them. Please let me know if you would be open to a conversation about me potentially hunting the reference property. I assure you that I would be respectful of your time and, of course, any concerns you have with me hunting, etc. So again, I'm demonstrating humility, communicating respect. Feel free to call me or text me or email me. All the best, Jacob Coons. So there you go. That's my letter. And again, it's expressing humility, it's expressing respect, and it's expressing a value to the process of hunting. Not only providing meat for my family, but also helping reduce deer accidents, managing the deer herd, making sure the deer herd's healthy. A lot of times they'll talk about the fact I'm taking the older deer, so it makes room for the new fawns. There are limited resources. So those are things that you can think about if you wanted to write your own letter. Now, online, you can also find things like hunting waiver and release agreement. And so you could include something like this that would essentially release them. So you can include this, and you don't have to sign it, but you can include that as something for them to review. And it's basically stating that you fall out of a tree, shoot yourself, whatever, they're not liable for you. And so that is another dynamic that if I owned a bunch of property and people wanted to hunt it, what if it got hurt? Am I going to be responsible for his broken neck or whatever? And so that is something else that you can discuss with them and go through with them. But I hope you find that helpful. Years and years ago, Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And so it's really about going out there and just expressing, meeting people, shaking hands. People are generally nice. People are generally respectful. You show up in a pair of blue jeans and a t-shirt or a collared shirt and just say, hey, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, sir. I just want to ask you a few questions. I am a deer hunter, a bow hunter, and I have just a great respect for what you do as a farmer. And I know that we have a lot of deer overpopulating, our area, our region, and so that is a concern of mine. Would it be possible that I hunt, whatever, however you want to phrase that? The value that I've received is immeasurable from hunting this farm. It's given me so much. I helped my son kill his first buck, and just being, making those memories and being part of those memories. This place is loaded with turkeys, and so I get to turkey hunt there and not worry about other turkey hunters. And there's a healthy deer population there, and sometimes it's just the opportunity to walk and to hike and soak in the outdoors in a new way is so amazing. It's a crisp October morning, and I'm hiking, and I can, I hear the corn sort of rustling, and it's just an amazing thing. And so again, what I do is, and I'll sort of wrap this up, is give this farmer gift cards on a regular basis for $100. A card with it says thank you, and I greatly appreciate you the opportunity to hunt your property, and really expressing that thanks. And as my son killed his first buck, I videotaped some of it, and I shared that video with this farmer, and he could see the excitement that came out of my son's experience. And I know that I saw a smile come across his face, and I know that he appreciated that opportunity that my son got to get on his property. And so I'll leave you with that. Thank you all for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, go to Hunt Detail Instagram, and you can get this letter if you want to use it for your own. All the best.